Congressman Joe Neguse joins us now. He represents Boulder, Colorado. Congressman, good morning to you. I can't imagine how you're feeling this morning. It's devastating and just heartbreaking for those of us who are on the outside looking in. This must hit very personal for you. You know this area. Chances are you know the story, you know the people. What went through your mind when you heard the news it had hit so close to home for you?
Good morning, Gayle. It's devastating. It was a devastating night last night. It was a tough night for Boulder, for Colorado, for our country. I've lived in Boulder County for decades. My wife was born in Boulder. This is our community and our home, and we're just heartbroken at the loss of life, which is really unimaginable, hard to fathom that 10 people lost their lives yesterday at the grocery store, including a police officer, Officer Talley, whose heroism saved lives. And,
yeah, you tweeted last night, Congressman.
We mourn their loss.
Yeah, I don't mean to cut you off, but I want to make sure that we really get to talk to you about what happens next. Because you tweeted last night, enough is enough. What should Congress do now? It seems like we have heard this song, played this record many times before, and nothing changes.
Yeah, look, Gayle, Colorado has been no stranger to gun violence. And I grew up in Highlands Ranch, 10 minutes from my high school. The Columbine tragedy unfolded when I was 14. 2 years ago, my niece was a kindergartner at the STEM shooting in Highlands Ranch, where she was locked down as a kindergartner. I think, like many Americans, I feel a great deal of anger and frustration right now. I think the time for inaction is over. It does not have to be this way. There are common sense gun reform legislation proposals that have been debated in the Congress for far too long. And as I said, I think enough is enough, and it's time for us to take action. I'm certainly going to be pushing with my colleagues in the Congress to make that happen, because I think that as Congress dithers on taking meaningful steps, Americans are dying every day. Coloradans are dying every day before our eyes. And at some point, we have to be prepared to say enough is enough. And I'm hopeful that now is that time.
Congressman, we don't yet know the details of this particular case, but the bigger picture conversation about legislation doesn't depend on any particular case. It depends on the politics of it. I remember the Newtown massacre and the feeling like, if not now, when? And yet those efforts largely came to naught, at least federally. What can you do now to make a difference this time around?
Look, we can't give up. I mean, Americans should be able to feel safe in their grocery stores. I've gone to this grocery store many times. They should be able to feel safe in their schools, in their movie theaters, and in their communities. And so, yes, as you said, the gun lobby and so many others have stopped the ability for us to make meaningful reforms in the past, but that's no excuse. I think the American people are tired of excuses. So it's time for us to roll up our sleeves in the Congress and muster the political willpower to actually get something done.
Congressman, have you heard any updates from law enforcement there about what happened? Any more details you might have heard either from there or from the governor's office?
We've been in touch, of course, with the district attorney, with the chief of police, and with the governor. I'll join the governor later this morning for a briefing with the Boulder police, and I suspect that we're all going to learn a lot more this morning when the Boulder police hold their additional media availability and briefing, I believe, in a couple hours here. So obviously still very much, an active crime scene there, and a lot of work to do in the days and weeks ahead, both in terms of ensuring justice, as the district attorney so eloquently put it, but also helping our community heal. It's going to be rough as we grieve with those families of those who lost their loved ones.
Aren't you frustrated by this, Congressman? I look at countries around the world that look at us and say, what is wrong with you, United States of America? I wake up this morning, I keep thinking about those 10 families who woke up, and the families in Atlanta last week, whose lives are forever changed. And we keep pointing fingers at everybody else, and nothing gets done here.
Yeah, no, I share your frustration, Gayle. It doesn't, as I said, it doesn't have to be this way. This is not the normal in so many other Western countries. I have a 2.5-year-old daughter, and I want her to grow up in a country where she's not scared to go to the grocery store. She's not scared to go to school. So that's certainly what motivates me. And I share your frustration. I think a lot of Americans share your frustration.
Well, right now we are scared. What is your message to the Boulder community today?
My message is simple. I know this community. I'm part of this community, and I would tell you, Gayle, that the Boulder community is strong. It is resilient. It is kind, and I know that we will, ultimately come together to support each other and to support our community during this very difficult time. So I'm and our office will certainly be ready and standing, ready and willing and able to help in that process.
Well, our condolences again to the Boulder community. Congressman Joe Neguse, thank you so much for joining us this morning.